Okay. For everyone that's here, we have a little poll that we'll go over at the end of class.
Sasha, I'll do the announcements while waiting for them to answer the poll. So, hello guys, welcome to today's class. As you come in, you will see a poll on your screen, so please make sure to answer them. Quick reminders before we hop into today's class. Quick reminders, please turn on your cameras so that we could mark your attendance properly. If you're having some technical issues or you're in your school activity or other stuff that you need to do, that's the reason why you're not turning on your camera. Please message our YC staff, Chris, because she is the one doing the attendance for today, so that we can mark your participation as excused. Also, please update your Zoom display name to your complete name so that we could mark your attendance correctly. And if you're an alumni, please add alumni before your name. And if you're a student leader, please add SL before your name. So welcome in everyone. Please answer the poll on your screen, and I'm gonna pass it back to Sasha. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So let's see, we have 20 people in class, so wait about another minute so that you guys can all answer the poll and then we'll go over it. Okay. There's like six more of you that need to do the four, three, five more of you that need to do the poll. Okay. All right. There's only two left, but I will end the poll now. Okay. So let's go over it. Which one's hardest to do when you're upset? So we have be kind to yourself, pause before reacting, ask for help, admit what you are really feeling. So majority of you guys, 52% said the hardest thing to do is admit what you're really feeling. Yes, I can relate to that. Second most popular response is be kind to yourself. Also, another thing I can relate to, we're all very hard on ourselves. What's one way you'd like to improve your emotional control? 50%, 56% of you said stop overthinking everything. Yep. Stop reacting so fast. Yes, sometimes we're too reactionary. We don't give ourselves enough time to process. Let go of needing to be perfect. That would also be very helpful. And remember to breathe first, speak second. That kind of ties into stop reacting so fast. Which one of these shows the most confidence in your opinion? Owning your mistakes, that does take a lot of confidence. Saying no without guilt, that takes a lot of confidence and skill. Standing up for someone else, yes. And then asking for help when you need it, yes. So this one was, you guys across the board were pretty close on giving equal weight to all of these. So, in my opinion, these are all important to you. And then which joke is better? Confidence is walking into the wrong class and staying there like you belong. What my self-esteem improves every time I turn an assignment before the deadline, so twice a year. The first one won, but both are very specific senses of humor. All right. So today, we're gonna get through the presentation. I'm not gonna do breakout rooms today. I'm just gonna give you guys time to do the worksheets or the workbook questions, and then we'll share in class. I'm a little sick, so we might get out of class a little early, simply because we'll just be getting through a lot of the slides. But I will do my best to sound clear because I know I'm a little nasally. So today's lesson, we're going to talk about building self-esteem and confidence. This is arguably one of the most important classes and ones that students often really appreciate. Also one of the trickiest ones to teach. So we'll see how I do this week. Let's go to the next slide. Last week we talked about building a life of character. So we kind of discussed what were traits that were important to us. We talked about growing through challenges, service, and values. Thank you, Stephanie. Recognize how daily actions shape who you become. And then surround yourself with people who strengthen your character, right? So be careful who you keep around and who you let influence you. Let's go to the next slide. Today's learning objectives. So we're going to explore how self-awareness, self-acceptance, and emotional regulation can help build a stronger, more compassionate relationship with yourself. We'll practice taking ownership of your choices, shifting to a more growth mindset, and staying motivated by connecting actions to a deeper sense of purpose. Um, Ikigai is kind of another way to go about that. Build confidence by expressing your values, speaking up with empathy, and making choices that reflect integrity and self-respect. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Know yourself and accept yourself. So the six pillars, I guess, that have to deal with living concisely and with self-acceptance. Sort of the first of the five pillars here is self-esteem starts with honesty, acceptance, and compassion. So, self-esteem is a very tricky thing because it's not something that I can go and tell you there's a formula for. There's not something I could say this is self-esteem. And that's not self-esteem. Self-esteem really comes with how strong you feel a connection to your own self, right? Self-esteem can manifest in you not doubting yourself all the time, right? Going through and making decisions with confidence, right? Self-esteem can also be your ability to say, hey, I made a mistake and let me move forward to correct it, right? That takes self-esteem because that requires you to be one, self-aware, but then two, for you to have the confidence that you can rectify the situation, right? And then just compassion. You can have compassion for yourself, but also having compassion for other people. So the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Awareness is the first step of this, right? So in order to either change or to start developing self-esteem or to strengthen your self-esteem, you have to be aware of the things that are making you insecure. So that could be that perhaps you don't feel you're the best writer. Perhaps you feel you're not a strong reader. Perhaps you feel really shy at public speaking. Whatever those things are, you have to figure out what to you is holding you back from feeling more confident in yourself. Then it's accepting that. It's accepting that, okay, this is the thing that's holding me back, right? But it's also accepting that you can change it. Most things that we think are weaknesses are just things that we haven't honed, right? They're not weaknesses, they're skills that we haven't developed yet. So, acceptance is knowing this is maybe not my strength or maybe this is my weakness, but that you can improve it. You won't perfectionize it because perfection's impossible to reach, but you can make progress. And then self-control is your ability to pause and choose, right? So in the poll that we took in the class, we talked about not being so reactionary. So you don't want to be doing things on autopilot, or you could be someone where you immediately react, whether someone is saying something you disagree with, whether maybe you're being accused of something, you're being reprimanded or scolded, and you immediately want to defend yourself. That could be with your parents, with teachers, with your own friends, coaches, teammates, anything, group setting. So you have the control to not always respond to something. And you also have the ability to say, look, I don't agree with you, but I don't want to give you emotional response to this. So you can pause and you can think about what's going on. You can pause and revisit a topic later. You can pause, disagree, and say that you need time to process. But you don't always have to be reactionary. That's a form of self-control. Self-control is also what we've talked about here, like discipline. Self-control is not always doing the exact thing that you want to do when you want to do it, but pushing off time on your phone to get that essay you need to get done out of the way. That's a form of self-control, discipline. And then we build strength with mindfulness, breathing, and reflection. So we talk about this a lot. You can be mindful and reflect just on your own. You could do it staring at the ceiling. You can journal. You can talk to someone that you like to confide in with. But being able to process things and reflect on them helps you realize one, things are not nearly as crazy or drastic as they seem to be, but two, it helps you clear your mind and figure out what your next steps are going to be. Let's go to the next slide. So, our first workbook question: what's a daily circumstance or moment when you can practice, pause, notice your feelings without judgment, and respond thoughtfully? So maybe it's something that happened today, maybe it's something that happened recently that you realize maybe you could have approached it differently. So go ahead, I'll give you guys 4 minutes to do this. So we'll come back in 4 minutes. We'll put a timer and then we'll share the responses. Okay. Aurelie, why don't you share with us what you wrote down? See, I know she was just here. Aurelie, you there? Okay. Francisco.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
A daily circumstance for a moment where I can practice pause and notice my feelings is, for example, when I'm studying and I have my phone on there with me with notifications on, is I can take a moment to like pause what I'm doing because when I see a notification while I'm studying, I immediately feel like annoyance. I feel annoyed because I'm in the middle of studying, so they should not be like texting. But what I can do is pause for a moment, take a deep breath and actually like answer like see what they want first and try helping them before going back to doing my homework.
Yes, I have the same problem when I'm doing work, but I have my emails open. And then I'll see an email, and the email will annoy me because I know I have to eventually respond to it. So what I end up doing is now I don't keep my emails open while I'm working on something so that I can't see when my emails are coming in and when I have to respond to something. Because I do try to like clear out my emails and get to things. I don't like to sit on them. But yes, Francisco, that's a very good point. Um, our phone is such a useful tool, but it's also one of those things that can hold us back. So we do have to constantly be aware of that with ourselves. Um, Shirley, why don't you also share your answer?
For me, it would probably be when I'm going to school and I'm running a little late and I have to like stop and think that it was kind of my fault for leaving late, but I also have to be considerate of other people as well.
Yes, the other form of that is like when you have meetings. There's times when um we have a morning where it's just not what we want it to be. Part of it is probably our fault. But those are the kind of learning lessons that you have to be kind of gentle with yourself. Like, yeah, I should have got up earlier. Yeah, I should have not stayed up so late. Yeah, I should have not snoozed my alarm 3 times. But those are all things where there's also a point in your life where like sometimes you're just like you need a break. Like sometimes it's like I needed 10 more minutes to sleep in because I just needed 10 more minutes. But the fact that you're aware, like, yeah, it was my fault that I was running late, so it is my fault why I created my own frustration, is actually a sense of, it's kind of what we talked about earlier with self-esteem. Like, being aware of it is an incredibly powerful thing. But you also like have to balance, you're never going to be perfect 100% of the time. Not every single day are you going to wake up like ready to go. There's going to be days where everyone's gonna be yelling at you because you're running late, but maybe you're tired or you're just, it's just not your morning. But we've all been there. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And in both of the examples that Shirley had and Francisco had, we look at these things as us, right? We look at like we're responsible for it. Even if perhaps there's a chain of events that we didn't start, you guys as a group, I know this about you, is that you guys take a lot of responsibility for your actions. And that, whether you know it or not, is self-esteem. And self-esteem can have a lot of different synonyms. Self-responsibility is like the next one we're going to talk about. Taking responsibility and acting with purpose. Not everybody does that. And I'm sure you've experienced that. I'm sure you've seen that in other people. But that's sort of how you can live purposefully is one, being responsible for your actions and aware of them, but then also choosing your next actions, right? Owning your choices and then taking the actions that you believe are going to give you the most value, right? Are there ones that are going to most align with who you are? Perseverance is greater than talent. So if you've ever heard hard work beats talent. There's going to be some people in life, for whatever reason, that they're going to be more inclined at something. Some things might come easier to them. Maybe they're athletically predisposed. Um, that doesn't lock out other people from doing things. Like there's plenty of athletes that worked harder than perhaps their teammate but could achieve the same results, right? So it's not necessarily that you're not talented enough to do something, but if you put in the effort, right? If you persevere, you can overcome maybe someone else's natural inclination. Or maybe you can perhaps unlock the fact that maybe you're naturally good at something and you didn't know until you started actually working at it. So you have to get through tough things, even if maybe you're naturally inclined with something. There's plenty of athletes that, whatever sport is, it comes easy to them, but they still have to work hard. They can't just rely on talent alone. And then growth mindset, right? Challenges equal chances to learn. That's basically saying if you never go out to do anything, you'll never achieve anything. You'll never learn how to do anything. So everything is going to come with its challenges, but every single challenge that you face and you overcome strengthens your skills, strengthens your talent, and shows to you that you can actually do the thing that you want to do. Perhaps you're meant to do. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So self-esteem grows through responsibility, purpose, and persistence. That's what we just talked about. Responsibility is your own choice. Oh, sorry. The next slide says all that stuff, but the new thing at the bottom. Purpose equals daily actions tied to your why. So a simple way of explaining what this sort of means is it is good form to make your bed every morning, right? That's good. But why do you make your bed every morning? And that could be a different why for other people versus maybe you. But the most common thing is it's discipline, right? So I grew up where you always made your bed. I just always made my bed. My mom told me you make your bed, and I never thought anything of it. But I realized like I had a friend in high school and she didn't make her bed. Now, I don't think this is entirely telling of her, but I just remember the day that I came over and I was making her bed. And she was like, why make my bed? I go, you're supposed to make your bed in the morning. She's like, why? And I go, well, because that's how you start your day. Like you start it with a clean bed. Like you wake up, you make your bed, and it's like a routine that you do. But I go, I can't leave with my bed messy because then it like leaves it like it, in my mind, I will think about it for the rest of my day that I left my bed unmade. And she's like, but I'm gonna go later, mess up my bed sleeping in it. And to this day, I cannot reconcile that in my head, like why she lived that way. And that was reflective of a lot of the things that she was like. She didn't do great in school, not because she wasn't smart. She just was like, why? I don't care about math. I don't care about biology. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. But she was smart and I just couldn't figure it out. But there was these little things that she didn't have. She didn't like make her bed. She never cleaned her room. She never saved any money. And all of these things in the 10 years that we were friends all amounted to like in that same span, I had to become an attorney and she still couldn't like she couldn't commit to taking a class at community college. And it started kind of like she'd never defined her purpose. She would say things that she wanted to do, but she couldn't explain why. She never gave herself the foundation. And part of what I knew and what I tried to foster in her, but I couldn't do it, was like self-esteem. Like, I believe you can, like, she wanted to be an editor. I go, you are definitely qualified to be an editor. You love reading. But, like, why don't you commit to your classes? Just take one class a semester in college. Just take one. Don't take three, don't take five, take one. And she never had these like foundational things, the stuff that we talk about in this course, right? And all these weeks. And it was something that like it boiled down like you don't even make your bed. Like start, I would tell her like just start there. And that's something that as much as we want that for other people, we can't always give it to them. But I tried leading by example, and in time she could see sort of the difference between us. And it was always something I never wanted her to feel like she couldn't do, but she lacked the self-esteem and the belief in herself. And all of these things, and you guys have it because I see it. You know, I see it when I talk with you guys. I see it when you come here in class and you share that you have a sense of purpose. You believe in yourself. You have no idea how important that is compared to so many other people, how far ahead you guys are, and the fact that you do believe in yourself and that you take the time. And so that was a very long-winded example that I gave you, but it was something like that that I could see. And no matter how much I wanted things to be great for her, I couldn't. And so I always had to focus on myself, and I just had this responsibility, like if I led by example. And she did, you know, I think take from that. But the greatest thing you can have is having your own why. And little daily actions, they do add up. They do amount to something. And it doesn't mean that it has to be for the world to say, hey, you have really good skills or you have really good discipline, you have really good self-esteem. It's just for you. And you only have to keep it for yourself. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so our next workbook question. What's a current challenge where you can shift from I can't to I'm learning how? So that could be very personal to you. It could be something that you're striving to do, that maybe you're struggling with and you need a mind shift change. So I'll give you guys another 4 minutes to work through this, and then we'll come back and share. Okay, let's see. Evan, share with us what you wrote down.
So for me, a current challenge right now is I have an AP statistics test coming soon, and honestly, I feel like I don't really understand the material. So instantly my mind is going to, oh, like I can't do it. I'm gonna fail it. But how I'm shifting this like right now is it's in a week. So I've been studying today. I'm gonna study tomorrow, Friday, like this whole week, and then the next week to prepare myself and hopefully um pass it. Hopefully.
Yes. In that situation, the only thing you can do is study as much as you can. And obviously, studying is going to be it's going to help you more than not studying. So, your mind shift change is good. You're going to focus, you're going to study, you're going to lock in versus being defeated and be like, forget it, I'm not going to pass it anyway. So, best of luck for you and for all of you guys, because I know you guys have AP classes and you have exams coming up. Okay, Chlorine, why don't you share with us what you wrote down?
Kind of similar to what everyone else has said before. For me, it's kind of a different AP. So for AP Chem, I know I started out kind of saying I can't do it because it is like notoriously a very rigorous class. But like recently, I've been kind of like shifting my mindset to think about it as kind of not something I can't overcome, but as an opportunity for me to grow and also just learn how to tackle the problems. And like recently, it's been working because I feel like I've been understanding the content a little more than I did once I like made that mindset shift. So yeah.
Yes. Mind shifting, mindset shifting is kind of the one thing that you can control, right? Like, there's a lot of factors you have no idea what's going to be on the exam. Or you do, but you don't know what specific topics might be on this exam. Um, you don't know the outcome, but not feeling defeated is a huge thing. That's going to give you a huge advantage versus people who go into taking AP exams or any really standardized test is the people who go in feeling like I don't know this, I don't have this, I didn't study enough will do worse than those who go in who studied and said, hey, I did the best I could. I studied as much as I could, and I think I've got this. Because again, that self-esteem, if you start doubting yourself, you're going to start doubting yourself on that test. And you're going to have an answer, and then you'd be like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Or like we talked about, overthinking it. Like, oh, did I not put enough? Did I put too little? Did I put too much? So you have to have confidence, and that comes from doing the mindset shift, which is I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to master it. I got it. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so speak up and live with integrity. Assertiveness and empathy is kind of the formula for speaking up and listening, right? So there's a difference between being assertive and pushy and being assertive but also empathetic. Like you can be assertive in your position and your principles and the things you believe in, but you can also have that from a place of understanding someone else, right? We talk about that like putting yourself in someone else's shoes. While you may disagree with what they're doing, and you don't have to agree with what they're doing if it's wrong, you can understand why they might be pursuing something a certain way that they're doing it. Maybe it's out of fear, maybe it's out of stress, maybe it's out of desperation. And so this is an example you see this often in movies, like someone standing up for the outcast, right? Someone standing up for the kid that's being bullied. So you can be assertive, but you can also be like empathetic. Usually the bully has their own set of problems that they don't know how to face because they lack the tools and the self-esteem. The next thing is like optimism, right? Having realistic hope, not like, hey, I'm not going to study for this AP exam and I'm hoping to get 100. No, you want to have realistic hope and you want to focus on what's possible, like what we have going on today. We can focus on what's possible. We can study for these exams. And we can have realistic hope that if we study, we'll do far better than if we don't study. But if you don't study, you shouldn't have the realistic hope of, passing the exam, right? And then integrity. You live by your values, even if they're small acts, right? The small things that make you who you are. It could be simply, I just don't listen to gossip. Or if someone says something to me and I disagree with them, I don't immediately react to them. Or, I brush my teeth twice a day. That's a very small but important value for your dental health. There's all these different things you can chalk up to who you are. They could be big, grandstanding values or just small ones, right? But you have to live by them every day. And that's sort of the challenge with life, right? As you go through, one of the biggest things that people face is like greed. Like, how do you manage wanting to make more money, but also sticking to who you are? Or how do I choose a career that aligns with my principles, right? So you do it and you do it every day and you do it every day consistently. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, that's just two, no, it's just one more prong. Okay, courage builds confidence, right? Honesty reinforces self-worth. So, how I sort of understand this is courage builds confidence, meaning if you have the courage to pursue the things that you want to pursue, whether we've talked about this, and I remember on Saturday I talked about it. Um, just applying for something, even if you don't think you're going to get it. Apply for it. One, it'll be good exercise to go through the interview process, go through the process of writing and, a personal statement, filling out an application. But even if you don't quite get it, it's good to do it because the first time, let's say you get rejected from something, it hurts, but you realize it's not that bad. So the more you do things, which takes courage to do, the more confidence you can build, right? Because the more things that you try to pursue, um, the more likely you're going to get opportunities. It's also good to pursue things like if you feel you want to do one profession, you should start pursuing opportunities in that. And then if you start to feel like, maybe this is not what I want to do, or maybe I thought I wanted to do this thing, but maybe I actually want to do this other thing. It's kind of in the same field, but it's a different way of going about it or a different part of the field. You have to have the courage to try things and have the courage to say, you know what, I want to change. I don't actually want to do this. I want to do something else. And honesty reinforces that, right? Being honest with yourself, like, hey, I really wanted to be, like, I have a friend who I went to business school with, and he was studying accounting. And he goes, I don't like accounting. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a dentist, which was crazy because it was like, how did you go from accounting to dentist? But he was like, I want to be a dentist. So he changed his degrees and then he ended up transferring to another school and then he went to dental school. Then in dental school, he was like, you know what? I don't want to be a dentist, which again was wild to me. I want to be a doctor. And so then he went to medical school, which is different than dental school. But he was honest with himself. Like, do I see myself the rest of my life working on people's teeth? And the answer was no to him. So that's a very extreme example of that. But he was honest with himself. And in the long run, he's probably going to be happier for it. So have the courage to pursue things and have the courage to change. Go to the next step or the next slide, sorry. Okay, our last workbook question. This week, how can you combine assertiveness and empathy in a conversation or decision? So, is there something going on with your friends, your family, perhaps a project, sport, anything going on where you have to have a tough conversation? And how do you think you can combine assertiveness and empathy to have that? Maybe it's not a tough conversation. Maybe it's just kind of one that you're pushing off for whatever reason. So I'll give you guys 5 minutes for this one because it's a little loaded. And then I'll have you guys respond and then we'll close out class. Okay. Do we have Isaac with us? I know that you muted, but are you with us? Probably not. Okay. Caitlin, why don't you tell us what you wrote down?
For me, what I wrote down is like this week I can share my opinions honestly while listening and understanding others person's feelings, especially because I'm in leadership. So in leadership, people have like different ideas and opinions, and it's kind of hard to like share out your opinions as well. But like sometimes when you hear others, like, you may want to shut them off immediately, and it's important to kind of hear them out and see like their own perspective and trying to see like, oh, like maybe their way they express their ideas may be helpful in some way.
Yes, sometimes it's interesting because when you're in a position of leadership, right, you feel like, oh, I have to have the final say. I have to know everything. And part of leadership actually has to do with our ability to not always be the final say in things, right? But to be able to identify that other people have good ideas or that maybe our idea is not the greatest, and to have, again, the confidence, the self-esteem to be, you know what? I think your idea is a little bit better. Let's try that. Or how about we take part of your idea, part of my idea, part of someone else's idea? And so having conversations, right? That's the most important part of anything, no matter what area of a profession that you choose, is being able to do that and doing it calmly, right? That's the key thing is like things not getting heated or getting too passionate. But it's great that you're in a position of leadership. And I hope that this like class has kind of helped you a little bit more with that. We'll give one more. Let's do Stephanie Garcia. Why don't you share with us what you wrote down?
Um, what I put down is making sure that my group finishes our project before the deadline, which can show that I am open-minded but also on top of my task by reminding myself and others to work on our project.
Okay. Um, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat. Had Heaven actually, Heaven, weren't you the one on Saturday who had the snowman?
Yeah.
You sat at my table, yeah. That snowman was cute. Um, this class is a tricky one because self-esteem to me is not something that I feel like can be chalked up into a class, right? Self-esteem is sort of the culmination of all of these things, all of these skills, these mindset shifting exercises, all the stuff that we sort of talk about. It's to create self-esteem. And like all of this stuff, it's going to be an ongoing thing. There's going to be times where you're going to be stressed out. There's going to be times where you're going to be bummed when something didn't work out, or perhaps a decision you made didn't give you the outcome that you wanted, or that you're going to be confronted with people that you have to deal with that you don't want to, right? Like, there's one thing when you're in high school and you have a classmate and you're like, one day I'm never going to have to see you again. It's a different thing when you're going to be in a work environment one day where you're going to have a coworker that you're not going to like and you're going to have to navigate how do I deal with relationships that I can't walk away from, but they're part of my day to day, like a coworker that I don't get along with but I'm going to have to like work with. And it comes down to self-esteem, and self-esteem is not something that you're going to even realize that you have, but it's going to manifest itself in your ability to handle those tough decisions, right? Handle those tough situations. And so being assertive is not necessarily being aggressive. It's that you're not backing down from your principles, but doesn't mean that you don't have to cooperate or collaborate with other people or be encouraging of other people. And so self-esteem is sort of a lot of things, and we work on it every day. And it's different aspects of who we are. It's different habits that we have and skills that we have and things that we bring to the table. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we have two more classes, I believe. The next one is going to be about ready, set, grow. So from learning to living. Reflect on lessons learned and personal growth. Set a vision for the person you want to become. Create a plan to live your values in daily life, and then take the first steps from the learning to action, right? So I give an example of this, like law school. Law school does not teach you how to practice law. Law school also does not teach you how to run a law business. So there's going to be things where you learn by just simply doing, right? You're going to learn all of these things theoretically in school, but eventually one day you're actually going to have to apply them. So the first step from learning is to actually take action. So we're going to talk about that next class. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we'll do 90 seconds so you guys can finish up your workbook and complete the survey because I want to make sure you guys turn it in so you can get your points. Let's do 90 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Sasha, for the wonderful discussion. Just stop sharing. And thank you everyone for attending today's class. And also to the alumni that attended today, thank you so much. We really appreciate you all. And let's go on to the announcements. Now, the first one will be about the workbook and survey. So the deadline for this one will be this coming Friday at 5 p.m. So please make sure to complete them on time because we're very strict with deadlines. Remember, no workbook means no points. Also, please make sure that you input the correct details in your workbook. So today we are at Cohort 9, Level 2. The facilitator is Sasha Struthers. So for the students who attended this as an alternative class for this week, you will put today's cohort number and today's level number. So next one will be about the Ignite Speaker Series. So this is important because this is the final Ignite series that we'll be doing this semester. This is your last chance to gain 2 extra points for your stipend. So the speaker for this one will be Eric Huberman. The date of the Ignite will be this coming Monday, November 17 at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. The RSVP deadline will be on November 14 at 5 p.m. So that's this coming Friday. The RSVP link will be in the chat box. Again, always remember that all of the announcements, workbook links, other additional resources about the workshop will always be in our student guide website. So always visit that website and the link will also be in the chat box. Again, if you have any questions or concerns about youth champions, please send a please send them through the help form and we'll be happy to assist you. Remember, we will only be addressing the concerns from Mondays to Fridays only. So the link will also be in the chat box. And again, thank you everyone. Please make sure to attend next week's class because that will be our last class for this semester. So if you want to attend, if you want to still join Youth Champions for the spring semester, on the mid-January or something like that, we will be doing the announcements for all of the details next week, and we will be also sending you emails about that. So stay tuned for that. That's all for me. I'm gonna give you back 3 minutes of this day, and thank you guys. Bye.
Thanks. I did not realize that next week is the last class. See you
Yeah.
guys.
Bye.
I have no concept of time right now.